Hi everybody, we're back with Our Life, Beginnings and Always. Last time we did the moment called Long Day, where it was a hot day and we were trying to stay, get lots of water on us and everything. And then we wanted to get an ice cream cone, so we asked Shiloh and he helped us out with that. Then when we got back, we noticed that Ko was crying. Apparently, he got yelled at by the elderly people that were staying next door. So we tried to comfort him on that and help him out of that. So, and then we went to the beach, and then we got all dirty and wet and everything. Had to get cleaned up. Come home and get cleaned up. Especially Shiloh. And now we are on the next moment. And this moment is called Sandcastle. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. I'm gonna skip. Okay. We did that. Okay. Alright, there we go. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. The waves washed his single shell to the shore. Glittering in blue, another reminder of places he couldn't go. From what you heard about Ko's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Like make a pact with a witch or something, just to get it off his arm. We thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else, and he couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it, but sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you could understand that not everybody else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in, says Cove. The water, says Shiloh. Yeah, says Cove. Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon. Cove only sighed in response. Apparently soon wasn't enough. It's so pretty, the ocean, says Shiloh. And huge. There could be anything out there, like mermaids. Yeah! Says Shiloh. I wish you didn't have a cast. I don't really care. Swimming might be fun if we could. I'm fine here on land. Mermaids aren't real. I'm gonna go with the first one. Me too, says Cove. Obviously not interested in hearing much of your input on the situation. Cove turned back to the water, but he looked away. Something about Shiloh's slow, careful moments caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle? Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening. Maybe I could too. I've made big piles before. It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away. Well, how do you do it? So Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cole's expectant stare on him. I'll play too. I love making sand stuff. I never really made one before. There's nothing else to do. I'm gonna go with the first one.
Okay.
Why is it not moving? Okay, there we go. He put his hands back to his seashells and sand and nodded. I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started. Shiloh, focusing more intently than you've ever seen him, glued Cove through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared. That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is going to be a real castle.
Cool.
This is gonna be a house. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decide to make a house, a castle, a mansion. I'm gonna do castle. Looking at the base of the sandcastle, you decided to build a fancy castle. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as he usually did. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you'd built. It seems you had got done so fast because they already shirked around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of shells, but there were still options. The first thing you reached for was a red bottle cap, blue seashell, green piece of sea glass, bottle cap. It was the best fit for your castle, he decided. And it seemed like the lid from the sports drink that Lizzie was trying to convince your moms to let her try. So you put it in a funny place where it take a second to look to see it. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. You checked out Cove's sandcastle. You checked out Shiloh's sandhouse. You decided not to look. First one. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished digging a huge gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense of enthusiasm he was digging with that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. The silence was broken. The silence was then broken. What's on the top of your Shiloh? Says Cole. You peek closer and discover something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney. Oh, it's a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke.
Neat.
It's good. That's smart. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I guess I don't see it. You should be an architect. Kind of looks more like a worm. I'm gonna go with the first one. You really know a lot about this? Shiloh smiled without a word. And that was that for the current topic. Chippy, can I see what you did? Says Cole. Sure. He scooted just a bit near, began surveying the work. The castle you built was pretty impressive, all things considered. It had archways, tall walls, and even a little moat circling it. You would probably feel safe living there. Maybe your moms were the queens. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation. Hey Chippy, what did you do? This is my castle. Shiloh didn't look so happy anymore. You both built castles?
Yeah.
That's neat. How you guys match. It's too bad we didn't all do it. Next time we should. Wouldn't that be boring? Says Cole. If something is the only one that thing, that makes it special. Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff. People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual.
Mm,
I don't think I'm very special, says Shiloh.
why?
Why not? Everybody else is you. Nobody else is you. Shiloh simply shook his head. I'm not different, says Shiloh. The beat passed between the two. Cove then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach.
Mm.
I didn't want to. Cove tailed off. There was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Chippy? You wanted to see if Shiloh would say what he wanted to. Then he didn't. You considered Cove's question. I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cole's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued.
Oh.
Well, I was there. I didn't think my mom has met your dad, says Charlotte. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Chippy's parents and my dad met the same day I met him. I'm gonna say what happened. Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Cove's choice of topic. That was kind of boring for him. Though giving people their own turn to say things they want is important too. You stayed silent and let Cove finish his story. I think Shiloh wants to talk to you. You stayed silent. Shiloh could talk about stuff after Cove had a chance to share what he planned on. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us, only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside.
Mm.
I didn't want to get out. because I knew my dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that. His lips twisted into a frown as he recalled that. Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said. I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there, the ones where we met for the first time. Cove nodded, then started at you, then stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything more. Aren't you going to finish your story? Cole's brow wrinkled. Even he didn't understand why you were surprised.
Huh?
That's all that happened, says Cole. Okay, why didn't you want to tell the story if nothing happened? If you really get better, you really got to get better at telling stories. That was a pretty bad story. Thanks for telling me. I'm gonna go with the second. I don't get what the point was, but that was how our parents met. I didn't make the story up. That's not really my point. Cove just was not understanding the issue here. Shiloh's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why'd you bring it up anyway? There was a slight shrug of Cove's shoulders.
Wow.
I was thinking about it because of the Sandcastle. It made me remember when I moved here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason. Cole's brow frowned a little more as he quietly raked his hands through the sand. I get it. You thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of the conversation had come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Shiloh, fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand, had made Cove aware of his presence again. They looked at each other, and you could only wonder what this might be about. Hey, Shiloh. Yeah? Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening? Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation. I don't know, I guess. Okay, it's kind of weird. Shiloh's eyes were wide with embarrassment, and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Maybe it wasn't only this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw, but it was a big deal to Shiloh. A huge deal. He didn't just look sad, he seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry, or run away, or what, but you soon got an answer. Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody is named Cove.
Who asked you to come?
It was probably just your dad bugging Chippy's family some more, because you don't have anyone else who ever played with you. Cove blinked. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to laugh off. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh. I'm sorry, said Shiloh. Me too. I was just wondering. Hey, let's build another sandcastle. You try to play on your own. Oh, are we going to build more? You nursing must the sand. I'm gonna go with the first one. The day is going to be over soon. Ah, Chippy, you're right. The sun is going down so fast, said Shiloh. You went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you trying to do something to resolve it, though, and it seemed like it helped. Even though Shiloh's smile when he said goodbye to Cove Rainbird, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. The two of you trailed out of the park together toward the neighborhood. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. You asked Cove what he was thinking. You stayed silent. Yes, Cole, what are you thinking? Something was definitely up, so you chose to reach out to him and ask, "Hey Cole, is everything okay?" You're making a funny face.
Oh.
I was just wondering. Cole fell silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed.
Hmm.
Why'd Shiloh act like that when I said he was all red a lot? You were being rude to him. He's just being a baby. You shouldn't make fun of him. I don't know, Mr. Shiloh. He gets embarrassed. You shrugged at Cove with no answer to give. I don't know. He's like that sometimes. But he wasn't like that with you. I've known him longer. I guess I can't. I guess I can get it. Why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cole's move was still sour.
Um.
Hey, Chippy, was Shiloh telling the truth? Huh? His gaze left as he dug the sole of his shoe onto the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second. Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your moms about that a lot. An uncomfortable weight settled in your chest at the question. You liked spending time with Cove. You didn't even have to think hard about it. You knew you did. But you couldn't help feeling guilty. Cove still didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holmes. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Your dad does stuff so you'll hang out with family, but Shiloh shouldn't have said that. You decided to tell him that his dad offered money. I'm not gonna tell him about the money right now. I don't think it's the right time. I'm just gonna wait and then do it another time when that I feel I'm ready to do that. I don't think this is not the right time for that. Nobody's making me spend time with you. See, because I mean, even though his dad gave me the money as my character, I was 8 years old. Still 8 years old, of course, but like I said, he offered me the money, and I figured I was going to be friends with this kid, regardless of the money or not. So it didn't really matter. And I guess I'm still holding on to the money because I haven't used it, so it's there. But it hasn't really changed. The money thing hasn't really changed anything. I'm just not ready to come out about it right now. So we'll wait. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I didn't think you were pretending. I just wanted to make sure it was okay, is all.
Thanks.
Thanks for telling me. Your throat tightened. It was hard to meet Cole's earnest gaze again. Keeping secrets was hard. You're welcome. By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses. It was time to part ways. You said goodbye, you hugged Cove goodbye, you nudged Cove's shoulder. I'm gonna give him a hug. I'll give him a hug. You stepped forward and wrapped your arms around him tightly. You turned your head, resting your cheek on his shoulder. Cove stood there awkwardly with his hands at his side. He wasn't much of a hugger, but you didn't get the impression he was unhappy that you were. Bye, Cove. See you tomorrow. Bye. Yeah, bye. You pulled away, jogged towards your house, then jogged to your house. When you looked back, you saw Cove making his way back home too, as if he felt your eyes on him. He turned around. He waved. You did too. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. You had no idea how Cove would take it either. It would be terrible if it made him feel bad. What if he didn't want to play with you anymore? You might change your mind sometime. There was always tomorrow after all. But for now, it was definitely something you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. And there we go. That's the end of Sandcastle moment. So I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do Fireflies, and then I'm gonna call it a day after that.
Alright!
Tonight we're going to catch fireflies, says Lizzie. At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. Oh, you are. This sentence, I don't get it. Oh, you are. Are you? Okay. Yeah, you started eating faster. You looked at your mom's. You pushed your food around the plate. Yeah. You rocked tightly from side to side in your seat, already excited for your after-dinner activity. Catching fireflies was a great way to spend a summer evening, and you could already envision the little lightning bugs drifting through the darkened sky. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Miss Prince, says Shiloh. Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly. His face lighted up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be there. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally, she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let her moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. Well, it's already so dark out there. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
There.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back. Yes, says Lizzie. Among with Lizzie cheers, you threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until you'd finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full.
Fine.
Just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay?
Duh.
Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are. The idea only just been planted in your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy read sometimes. All too quickly, it became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. That's right, if someone died, you'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth,
Jeez.
no one's going to die. Sheesh. A knock at the door interrupted Mom before she could, no doubt, scold her sister. I'll get it, says Lizzie. Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking at the window to see who it was.
Huh?
You shifted in your seat to try to get a glimpse of the unexpected guests.
Hi.
Good evening, Cole. And Mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flappy hat. Oh, Cole, hi, you're here. Cole smiled at your enthusiastic greeting. You hoped Mommy would ask him to stay. It didn't matter why he was there. It meant he could join you all in catching fireflies. Then for a few seconds Cole said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face of almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Cole took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, here. Why don't you come inside for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cole shrugged. And Mom stood from the table too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you got here. Alright. Cole shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind you.
Hi.
Hi, Cole, said Shiloh. Shiloh gave Cole a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Cove, are you going to catch fireflies with us? You could come outside with us if you want to. You weren't sure what to say now? I'm gonna go with the first one. You could see Lizzie opening eyes, eyeing you. You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider, but she'd get over it. You hoped Cole would say yes. That way you would be the odd one out with Lizzie and Shiloh anyway.
Yeah.
I can do that, says Cole. I've never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must have not been anywhere he used to live. We can't go until after dinner, says Lizzie. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cole stepped closer and eyed what was going on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet? Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? Says Shiloh. Eggs. The clipped one word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended because your mom came back to the room.
Okay.
Cove, your dad said you could stay for a little while if you like, but he's going to come get you before he gets too much later. Sure.
Fun.
Oh, fun. This will be so nice. As she polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom, says Lizzie. Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie, he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. Coming? After a moment, he did.
Bye.
Bye, children. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh. By the time you walked outside, you pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get further and further away.
Hurry up!
You're so slow, Chippy. You don't have all night, says Lizzie. You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. Are you not gonna come? Tug him along. You walked with him. You waved at him to hurry. Ran off. You waved at him to hurry. Hurry, Cove, before they all get the Fireflies first. You darted down the pavement towards your sister and her friend. After a few seconds, you heard the slip of Cove's sandals not far behind. That made you smile as you ran through the night. Then you finally reached the hill. You stopped to catch your breath. Looking up at Lizzie and Shiloh, who had already made it to the top and started spinning around between the blinking lights of the Fireflies. As you climbed the hill with Cove beside you, you held out your fingers towards the Fireflies that were gently bobbing around all around, illuminating the grass and the poppies covering the hill. There was barely any wind, which made it perfect for the little lightning bugs to be out exploring the big, wide world.
Wow,
says Cove. Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome both of you to the hill. Hi guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah, says Cove. A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sleeping head. Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You quietly looked on. Shooed the bug away. I'm gonna go with the second. Covering your mouth with a hand, the sound escaped you, and Cove looked at you in confusion. What?
Oh!
Oh, look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing, says Shiloh. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered. Shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies settling around, the game was on. Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outreached. You closed your hands around the little growing boa, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you started down you stared down your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Ove kept with his own target, but when he started to grab it with his pink cast, waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with dissatisfied expression on his face. You encouraged him to try again. You told him about the firefly you had. You made a joke about what happened. Did your own things. I'm gonna go with the first one. You'll get the next one. Did you catch one? You nodded, and Cove gave up his hunt for a moment, coming closer and peering at the insect until still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand, and he leaned closer, eyes widening, and Tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers slightly over the top of ones you were holding open. It tingled. You stayed very still. You pulled your hand back. You stayed very still. The last thing you wanted was to accidentally scare the shining treasure off. The firefly, noticing the new connection, crawled up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked. Yeah, you got one. Cove's lips turned up to a slow smile, and his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Chippy. With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack, performing an awkward low five. Startled by the extreme moment, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your Firefly was gone.
Sorry.
Oops, sorry. You scolded him, you forgave him, you teared up. You forgave him. It's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
You're right.
Right, bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another. You decided to collect more. You decided to sit in the grass and watch. First one. We can work together. His face broke out into a wild white grin. We'll get a bunch. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from her grasp. At first you tried to keep tally of how many you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Chippy, this way. You followed the sound of Co's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques that you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened. You listened attentively before trying for himself. There were a few times when you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success, with the both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavily and his face seemed really flushed. That was fun, a lot of fun. He smiled at him broadly, happily that he enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was.
Come on!
Chippy, go get over here. We're gonna have a race. The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie and Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill. Again, Lizzie beckoning to you two with quick hand gestures. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up to the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued by the idea. Hi, says Charlotte.
Cove!
Hi, Cove. You can't roll down the hill. You could hurt yourself again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was kind of a race. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in the way tonight. What? Says Cove. Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it?
I guess.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. You got into position for the race. I'll stay with Cove. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna stay with Cove.
Really?
Really? Why? You don't have to. It's okay. I want to watch. You moved beside him on top of the hill. Even though Lizzie eyed you, you made your face. That's not how races work. We only need one referee. Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to bulge. And Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine. I'll be the winner whether you join or not. Lizzie moved to lay down, and Shiloh did the same. Cove stood silently to one side to get a better vantage point. You stood next to him. Count down, says Lizzie. Cove stood up straighter. It seemed like he was taking his new-found referee duties seriously. 3, 2, 1, go. Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speed toward the bottom. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck until about halfway down the hill. Lizzie started to veer off the side, giving Shiloh a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly and threw his hands in the air. I won, says Shiloh. Almost immediately he fell back onto the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush she had ended up in, sputtering angrily. and brushing leaves from the front of her dress. Not bad. You got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. Kids, it's time to come home, says Mom. No, says Lizzie. You snickered, feeling grateful you hadn't been a part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills. But the cold in the air had dampened everyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together, side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening with each person trying to prove that they were the ones who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you had a good time, which, judging by the smiles everyone's faces, you did. And there we go. That's the end of it. And being that I can't load the DLCs. I have the DLCs, but for some reason I'm having, like I said before, having trouble trying to load them onto the game. So we're gonna go to this last part where you can click on to, which says, and then summer in it. It's just the last moment of this part of step 1. And then click yes. And then I'm going to save it so we can do that next time we come back to it. Save it right there. And thanks again for everybody for watching my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Also, I would appreciate it if you can go to my Patreon. I will post it in the bottom of where you can go to my Patreon and become a Patreon contributor. Remember that everything that I collect through Patreon is going to go directly to charity. So I really appreciate it if you can. Please become a Patreon contributor to my Patreon so that I can give that money to charity. Okay? So I'll see you guys again later. And like I said, thanks for watching.